Hey, you blink, I'll cut your eyelids off. Don't you blink.
I got you.
Let's go.
And good evening, everybody, and happy Friday here. Welcome to another edition here of the Metal Steel podcast right now with me, Charles, the Prodigy, Richey right now. Going to be doing 1 hour specials once a week until we get closer to the start of the regular season. I'm going to do it on Fridays from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Just give everybody an update. For right now, that's where I stand. And then once I get closer, I'll post some updates if I'll be going back to twice a week sooner. But for right now, we'll be doing a 1 hour special, maybe permanent, going into the future of the Metal Steel podcast. But I'll let you guys all know. Once again, you guys can follow me on social media, on Twitter at Metal Steel CGR, and on Instagram at Metal Steel Nation as we're getting ready to get going right now. Got a lot of stuff to get into. Definitely news of the week so far. The Steelers releasing right guard David DeCastro, non-football injury from what it sounds like, based on everything that has been happening here. Non-football injury release designation. Steelers in return, they do happen to sign Trey Turner, formerly of the Panthers and Chargers, who has played 7 seasons so far. I'll break down the difference between those two guys a little bit later on. We also got some updates on the Steelers training camp, basically, by the way, which was announced yesterday on the 24th, as posted by Steelers spokesman Burt Lawton. As there will be no camp at St. Vincent's College, which will have been the 55th annual year at that location. Instead, they'll be hosting it between Heinz Field and the Sports Rooney UPMC complex. And we also got some other stuff to hit into. Here are the latest topics on fair or foul. And right now, as we begin, like I said, with the opening news here on the opening drive right now, David DeCastro was announced yesterday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, according to Ed Bichette of The Athletic. He was released, 6-time Pro Bowler and 2-time All-Pro in the locker room, as mentioned by Ed Bichette right here. As you really think about it, too, I mean, with the Steelers' offensive line, the future right now, and I'm looking at things, I mean, it all began with Ramon Foster. I mean, at the end of the 2019 season, he retired. And then you got following the conclusion of this season right now, I mean, the retirement of center Marquise Pouncey, who is now gone. Now the Steelers also, too, releasing Alejandro Villanueva as he goes on to sign with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, and then you also got right now, I mean, DeCastro right now, who is at minicamp, did not participate. There was talks of the Steelers meeting with Trey Turner, and it seemed to be like a little bit of a smoke screen right there as we looked at it. And it was definitely really interesting how things have just worked itself out when we look at it. And to be honest with you, I mean, listen, right now, I'm looking at the future of this offensive line right now, and you got to think about this. I mean, one key factor, you got Ben Roethlisberger, who's going to be, who has opted into this season. The Steelers were able to sign him to a 1-year deal, I believe it was, with voidable years at the end of the contract. But when you really think about, like, Roethlisberger, who's coming back last season, I mean, one of the most quickest quarterbacks in releasing the ball. And that was just to avoid wear and tear on the arm, as we looked at. Roethlisberger actually signed a 2-year contract extension back in 2019, but then he agreed to a new contract this past March, which reduced the salary from 19 to 14 million, adding 4 voidable years to the contract. But like I said, I think right now this will be very key. If you look at Ben Roethlisberger right here, and you look at truly, I mean, the past, 6 years right now, where he's been having success of being protected right now. And when you truly look at it, I mean, when you think of guys who are on this offensive line before in the past, other than who I just mentioned right now. So, like I said, Alvin Hollinger Villanueva, he goes to sign on with the Baltimore Ravens. And then you also have, Marquise Pouncey retiring, Ramon Foster retired at the end of the 2019 season, and David DeCastro just being released right now. And I really believe right now, how much does this affect chemistry-wise with Ben Roethlisberger? Also, the other caveat to that, I mean, will the sacks go up now on Ben Roethlisberger? We're looking at a guy in Trey Turner right now who has been very valuable when you take a look at as far as helping opening up the run game. Now, he has played for 7 seasons, and under his tenure with at least 6 of those seasons, being with the Carolina Panthers and last year with the Chargers, has given up a lot of sacks when you truly think about it right now. And for the sacks they've given up in 7 seasons, him and his teams have allowed 272 sacks in 7 seasons for 2,080 yards lost, which puts him around the top 12 average. Now, the flip side is the positive encouraging thing is the running game. He has been very instrumental in helping opening up holes in the run game, if you think about it. I mean, this guy right here, Trey Turner, who right now, I mean, when we look at it, I mean, from a perspective, him coming on this team, making his contributions right now, and for what he's been able to do, he is right now a 5-time Pro Bowler, 0 All-Pros. He was on the Pro Bowl rosters from 2015 through 2019. And just to give you an idea, like where he was playing at. So, I mean, you take a look at it right there. I mean, you have Ron Rivera right there for a few of those seasons. I mean, at the end of the day, too, listen, I really start to take a little bit of a closer look at this team right now. I mean, you see the Pittsburgh Steelers right now in this year's draft. I mean, when we recap everything, I mean, after they got Najee Harris in their first round pick, I mean, basically, I mean, you look at their second pick right now, I mean, this year, which was 55th, I mean, their third round pick, excuse me, which was 87th overall. They selected guard/center, but he was really listed as a guard. He could play center. Kendrick Green out of Champaign, Illinois, Fighting Illini. And then you look at the rest of the stuff right here. I mean, when you truly look at it, I mean, now we're going to be looking at right now, it looks like Chuks Okorafor, I believe he was supposed to be sliding over the left tackle, according to Mike Tomlin. And then you also got right now, you got left guard Kevin Dotson. Center, more than likely, I got to believe that's going to be B.J. Finney here. And then, I mean, like now that I said, right guard David DeCastro, he is gone. And more likely, Trey Turner, how much will he be able to fill into that? Remember, DeCastro, he did show up to minicamp last week, even though he didn't participate. And the reports were that apparently there had been apparently a physical problem that the Steelers had doubts on counting on him. He suffered an abdominal injury last season in training camp and appeared to recently suffer an ankle injury. When speaking to Angelo Filipponi of 93.7 The Fan, being asked by Jim Calmy, asking DeCastro about the non-football injury designation, he said the owners are billionaires for a reason. And I think that statement really says it all. I mean, definitely needless to say, a guy who is very disappointed, as you can imagine, very frustrated with where he's at in this point in his career right here. I mean, you look at how much instrumental he's been a part of to help keep Ben Roethlisberger on his feet. I mean, the last few years. I mean, I think he's done a tremendous job. Very good offensive lineman. I mean, Steelers offensive line, I think they really done a fabulous job. I mean, within, almost an end of an era, like the last 10 seasons. I mean, think about it. I mean, think back to the days I mean, before Todd Haley came into the picture, it was under offense core Bruce Arians. You saw how Ben Roethlisberger threw a lot more on the run, using his ability to get people to miss, extend plays, and I mean, under that, especially with Bruce Arians, he was definitely getting a lot more sacks in his career. I mean, from that point. And I mean, and nearly, I mean, pretty much got scapegoated for how many hits he was taking within that time period. I think, if anything, remember after that 2011 season when they did get eliminated by the Broncos in the wild card round, that was also the same year too that they did not win the division. I mean, from that point, but still, I mean, it was definitely right now a concern about keeping this guy on his feet. Granted, it did take a few more seasons to keep him protected and everything. But I think the consensus was you did not want to keep having this guy get banged up, get this guy in the retirement a little bit earlier on. I think the offensive line was definitely huge for his career, undoubtedly. I mean, keeping this guy around, keeping him on even keel feet, and just keep him as best you can under what we could do. I mean, just think how significant that was, and not allowing him to succumb to more hits, any more injuries. I mean, the longevity Ben Roethlisberger was able to have. I mean, he's only really had. I mean, when you think about it, he had the elbow surgery back in 2019, and then you also look what was the other significant injuries. I mean, that he was having in his career. I mean, basically, as we look through the timeline in his playing career, I mean, with the Steelers, I mean, another one you can also look to prior to that, a few moments too, as he missed 3 season games due to injury. I mean, it was a game against the Monday night football against the Chiefs. I mean, back in 2012, which I really feel like that cost the team the playoffs and the division. I mean, back then, as he sprained his shoulder in that contest right there, and he missed 3 regular season games with Byron Leftwich, trying to replace him initially the first time, losing his first opportunity against the Ravens on Sunday Night Football in Heinz Field. But then he had Charlie Batch, who went 1-1. We'd also see him get injured again back in 2015 against the St. Louis Rams. And you look at it right there, too. Roethlisberger suffered a sprained MCL and a bone bruise. He missed 4 games in that span right there. I mean, when you took a look at it, I mean, right at that moment, and you saw everything that continued to go, I mean, well for the Steelers right there. I think they went 2-2, if I'm not mistaken, losing to the Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs here. I mean, basically, in that season, I'm trying to confirm that real quick as we look at it back in that season. But like I said, you look, this was prior to the elbow surgery right there, and you look at, so he missed 4 games. They went 2-2 without him. So, I mean, pretty well manageable. But right now, like I said, I mean, the biggest question is, I mean, how many times have we been hearing how much this offensive line is be very key in being the Steelers' success? I mean, that's. I mean, you look at Najee Harris right now. I mean, expecting this guy to be the ultimate it factor for this team. A guy who's went on record saying he could do a lot of stuff that Le'Veon Bell has done, if not better. Only time will tell. But I mean, Matt Canada right now, I mentioned this last week too, is where as he made a statement a week and a half ago about how they're going to try and run everything around Ben Roethlisberger with his consent. And I mean, what do you really do? I mean, in this situation right now. I mean, how much is leaning on Ben going to be something that could backfire on them? And we already heard Art Rooney. I mean, at the end of the regular season, was emphasizing trying to get back to running the ball and just having a well balanced offense. Guys, want to hear your comments, concerns? You guys are feel free to welcome to leave me a comment or send me a tweet on Twitter right now. If you guys want to follow me, once again, I can be followed on Twitter at MetaSteelCGR and on Instagram at MetaSteelNation as we take a look at it too. In the meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they did sign Trey Turner, and they have agreed in terms, according to Jeremy Fowler of NFL on ESPN, to a 1 year, $3 million deal for right now as we look at it. And I mean, that's going to be some pretty interesting stuff, to say the least. But that's what David DeCastro was telling Joe Starkey, too, at 937, the fan, that according to Mark Cabali, Tony, according to Mark Cabali of the Athletic, he had ankle problems last year. I tried to fix it last year, but the bone spurs kept coming back. It nagged me pretty bad all last year. David DeCastro was never on the injury report for an ankle. He was on it for knee, hand, abdomen, not injury related. So we'll continue to follow this storyline as it becomes available right now. Now he's gone. How much you guys feel right now? This is going to impact the Steelers' season for this year, but beyond. Are we really starting to truly see the end of a legit run with this team in the AFC North? Feel free to hit me up as we're continuing to go a little bit further right now.